Is there something in kendo that is lost from kenjutsu and that kendo had more of but now still retains? Let's have a look. The secret is, look at this guy here when he moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the beat. Before we go on to the video, get yourself a copy of the Book of Bushido and help me out. If just by buying a copy of this, you keep the channel and my research going. Now, something that comes up quite a lot in old densho, old manuals for swordsmanship, is that you have to be careful of the beat. You have to watch the enemy's beat, be outside of their beat, and be, detached or match with their beat. Now, people are saying, well, what is this beat? What is it? Now, I don't think they would fight quite like this. Maybe this may be absolute battlefield fighting, but in general kenjutsu, it'd be slower and less aggressive than this, but it wouldn't be as calm as the stuff you see nowadays. So there must be a middle ground somewhere between the calm and then the ferocious. So most likely it's not quite as hard going as we would expect, because nobody really wants to lose their life instantly, unless we're going fanatical, of course. In that case it does. So I don't think anyone would fight much like this, and it wouldn't last longer than 30 seconds anyway. If you did fight like that, somebody would die, if not both of them. So, but you see the beat, the movement of their swords, beat, 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 beat. I don't mean the hits. Watch in between the hits. That's what we're looking for. In between the hits. They're beats. You can see them. This happens in early kendo, and it happens in early pre-kendo. Now, what this means, or possibly means, is that from samurai times, they actually maintained this beat. So we could postulate that actually going backwards, back into the Edo period, and then back in hopefully the Sengoku period, their movement, the swordsmanship, was actually done with small movements, noddings of the blade. Whether this was actual little mini circles or nods or movements, it becomes somewhat more dynamic, and it's much easier to fight from a moving position, from actually moving. Now, this is a great organization here. I'll put the name on screen, but this is a wonderful organization that you should have a look and subscribe to. And these are trying to get back to the original kendo, and you can see the beats are inside them. However, I don't think they fought quite like this. This is a training practice. In reality, you just don't fight like this unless you're going to die, and you don't mind dying. But it's nice to see. So this is the same as modern fencing. If you look at modern fencing, just between where they start to fight, you can see just in between the actual fighting, there's lots of beats. They're very quick, you have to find it, but both fencers there are trying to find a beat, then one goes. And the good thing about fencing is they stop them after there's been a kill. So along with the old type of kendo, they don't stop, they just keep going, but here they do stop. So it shows how quick aggressive maneuvers like that would actually be before you died. However, you see the beats there in fencing. So this is the same for boxing, basically. You see one is stepping back in, back in, back in. It's the same thing. It's beat, beat, beat till he's ready to move, okay? So I'm going to round up now, guys. I don't think people used to fight like this unless it was an outright war, and you wouldn't last very long. It's just a case of luck if you actually survive something like that. But I don't think kenjutsu is done as we think it's done today. And against what I normally thought, I think it leans more towards the bouncing, moving beats that you get in sports, because moving from a static position is much more difficult than moving from rhythm, from moving from a rhythmic position. So I'm not suggesting that sword fighting was like kendo or it's like this, but what I am suggesting is that between kendo and this old way of fighting and modern kenjutsu, that's the kenjutsu that's full of tradition, I would say there's a moment inside of there where you get natural movement with beats, and you have to watch out for the beats, and you have to take care of them. And once you find those beats, you have to manipulate them. But what I'm trying to say is that in kenjutsu today, nobody uses the beat system, nobody uses the movement. And it looks like, if you look at this old footage, the beat is the movement of the sword tip, the kisaki, up and down. There he goes again, up and down on the right, just enough so that you can build a rhythm or go against the rhythm with your opponent and jump in and get it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and get a copy of the Book of Bushido if you like samurai.